Hello, students of math. We are continuing to learn operations on fractions, all different variations, and we will soon start applying what we know to solving word problems. Today's lessons begin on page 94 of your textbooks. So, what do we have? Multiplying mixed numbers times mixed numbers. So my friends, so far, let's review. We multiplied fraction times whole number. We multiplied fraction times fraction. We learned to multiply fraction times mixed number. All these different combinations, okay? Mixed number. And today we're going to learn how to multiply mixed number by another mixed number. So here is our example. All of these this was part 1, part 2, part 3 in our previous videos, and today we're focusing on how to multiply mixed numbers. So we have an example in front of us, and it is to multiply 3 1/3 by 2 5/8. How do we do this? Well, there is one extra step that I will ask you to do. So if this is what we need to do, there is one extra step to finish it. We are going to convert each of these factors into its improper equivalent. So what we're going to do, convert to improper fraction and convert the second factor into improper fraction. And then multiply them as you know it, fraction times fraction. So we have an extra step to complete. So 3 1/3 is the same as 9/3. No, sorry, 10/3. It's 10/3. Now 2 5/8 is the same as 21/8, right? 21/8. Now we're going to multiply their equivalents. And, well, remember, we are always encouraged to simplify before we multiply. 21 and 3, they can be reduced by 3. So 21 divided by 3 gives us 7. 3 divided by 3 gives us 1. You see how I write it much smaller, the reduced numbers? And then 10 and 8 can equally be reduced by 2. They're both even numbers. Therefore, 10 divided by 2 will give you 5. And 8 divided by 2 will give you 4. And what you're left with is 5 ones times 7 fourths, which is the same as 35 fourths, or what I call quarters. And 35 quarters, we will convert it back to a nice mixed numbers. Number is 8 3/4. 8 3/4. Now, this book gives you a different representation of what it's like to multiply two mixed numbers. So what I showed you right here is actually presented in the example just below. I would call it method 2. That's what I just showed you. And this is method 1. We will get back to method 1. So let's see. How did they do it? 3 1/3 is the same as 10/3. 2 5/8 is the same as 21/8. And of course, when you do multiplication, you will eventually end up with 8 3/4, just like what we have shown above. However, I want to show you the way they are demonstrating it. They're saying that 2 5/8, let's present it as an area model, right? Let's call it area model. You guys probably familiar with them at school. To some people, they look confusing, but to others, they look very, very much visual and very helpful. So area model, let's consider 3 1/3 to be maybe width, and 2 5/8 will be length. And when you multiply width times length, you will get area. Hence, this particular method is called find the area model. So 2 5/8. Let's present 2 5/8 as 2, which is right here, and its smaller part, 5/8. Okay, so here is your 2 5/8. And let's represent 3 1/3 as a side that is 1 part 3. which is evident right here, 1 part 3, and 1 part 1/3. So when we multiply these area models, we have 4 different areas. We have blue, we have red, purple, and green. 2 times 3 gives you 6, right? 2 times 3, the area of this rectangle equals 6. 2 times 1/3, 2 times 1/3 will give you 2/3, right? Will give you 2/3. 3 times 5/8 will give you 15/8. Let's just do it like this. 5/8 times 3. We've done that. And 5/8 times 1/3 right here. 5/8 times 1/3. The area of this purple piece will be 5/24. And once, so here it is, it's all written out for us. So this is 3 times 2. This is one area of the blue section. 3 times 5/8 gives you 15/8. 1/2 times 2, that is your red section. That gives you 2/3. And 1/5, this is the purple section. It gives you 5/24. And once you add up all these fractions with different denominators, you should arrive with the same answer, 8 3/4. My friends, method 1, in my opinion, is very cumbersome. I explain it because for some people it makes sense. For most of my students, it is very cumbersome. They have to draw, they have to break things apart. So my recommended method is what we've seen presented earlier, right here. When you're faced with multiplying two mixed numbers by each other, your first action, your first step should be convert each of them into a proper fraction and then multiply the way you've always done it. Let's practice it. I'm only going to complete CFI. I always try to complete only one section, leaving the rest for homework. I don't like when that happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sure. So we have example C, example F, and example I. Let's work on example C, okay? 2 2/5. Let's convert each of these factors into their improper fractions. 2 times 5 is 10, gives you 12/5. And 3 2/9 gives you 29 ninths. So let's go ahead and cancel. 12 and 9 are both divisible by 3. This gives you 3. This gives you 4. And we end up with something not as convenient as we would wish, but still doable. We have 4 times 29 over 5 times 3. And 4 times 30 is 120. 4 times 29 is 116. 116 over 15, and go ahead, you can simplify it. You should get 7 and 11/15. I'm going to put my answer in a box. Next example, let's take a look at 4 and 30/10 times a half. So 4 and 30/10 is 43/10 times 1/2. Now over here, my friends, nothing can be simplified. 43 is a prime number, and it's not divisible by 2, not divisible by any factors of 10. So we end up with 43 out of 20, which is not so bad for us because that's just 2 and 3 out of 20. And I'm going to put my answer in a circle. And finally, 2 and 7/10. Let's convert it. You know, I don't like this box. Let's convert it into this and this. 2 and 7/10 gives you 27/10, which is an improper equivalent. 3 times 9 is 27 plus 7, gives you 34/9. And now look, things will cancel out much better. 27 and 9 are both multiples of 9. 9 divided by 9 gives you 1. You see, I put a small 1. 27 divided by 9 gives you 3. And 34 and 10 can be divided by 2. They're both even numbers. So this is 17 in the numerator, and here we have 5 in the denominator. Now we have 3/5 times 17 ones. Go ahead and multiply, and you should get something that, right here, the answer is you should get 10 and 1/5. I'm going to put it in a circle. My friends, go ahead and solve the rest of the examples by yourselves. Again, remember, the easiest way to do this is to convert all your improper fractions into their mixed number equivalents. Don't forget to cancel out before you multiply to make your number smaller so you can make fewer mistakes.